with Sue Bird coming in, at least this is someone that has been positive on Caitlyn at times. And I think the issue with Sue Bird, though, is she has her hand kind of in so many things. And between with her podcast, where she tries to advocate for the players, but she's also an owner in the league. And now she's got the Team USA thing, and she's got all these connections and relationships she has to maintain. But at the end of the day, if it comes down to someone that went to UConn and someone that did not go to UConn, the UConn Mafia is going to stick together until proven otherwise.
Let's just cut the sugarcoating and say it straight. Team USA somehow managed to create the most unnecessary, completely avoidable meltdown we've seen in women's basketball in, honestly, forever. And it's one of those situations that's so wild, you almost can't look away even if you try. Here's the headline: Caitlin Clark, the biggest name, the most influential force, the face of the entire sport right now, has reportedly drawn a hard, non-negotiable line. Word is, she let Team USA officials know point blank that if they tried to take her signature number away, she'd walk out without blinking. And behind closed doors, Sue Bird, yes, that's Sue Bird, one of the most respected figures to ever touch the game, is apparently scrambling in panic mode, trying to contain what is now a full-on organizational implosion. But let's be real for a second. This mess might already be too big to undo. The controversy is snowballing by the hour, the outrage is boiling. And if Team USA doesn't get their act together, this one decision could end up reshaping the entire future of women's basketball. And look, while you're watching this unfold, do me a favor real quick. If you're rocking with Court Queens, tap that like button and drop a comment. I want to hear where you stand on this. Would you really walk away from representing your country because of a jersey number? Or do you think Caitlyn's response is completely justified? Tell me your take, because people are heated on both sides. Now let's talk about what started this explosion. Reports from inside training camp say Team USA tried to force Caitlyn to ditch her iconic number 22. The same number she's worn since she was a 5-year-old kid learning how to hoop. The number millions of fans immediately associate with her. The number that basically became its own brand. And what did Team USA do? They told the one player who's brought more eyeballs, more energy, more new fans to the sport than anyone in decades that she couldn't wear the number that literally defines her entire career. And then they acted surprised when she basically looked them in the face and said, "Cool, then I'm not coming." Multiple credible reports out of December's prep sessions say officials straight up informed Caitlyn she was not allowed to wear 22. Not maybe, not possibly, not temporarily. No, they told her no, full stop. And Caitlyn's response was reportedly brutally clear. If she can't wear her number, she's not showing up. No wiggle room. No negotiating. No softening the blow. She shut that door immediately. Meanwhile, Sue Bird, who's now serving as the managing director for Team USA, is losing her mind trying to figure out how this situation even got this out of control. And honestly, she should be panicking. Because this isn't a tiny paperwork mix-up or a scheduling error someone can quietly fix. This is a 5-alarm disaster that makes the entire organization look like they're either completely clueless or worse, intentionally disrespectful. And either option is a terrible look when you're supposed to be the top-tier, gold-standard basketball program on the planet. Team USA basically created a PR firestorm around the one player whose presence alone multiplies fan engagement, sells out arenas, spikes ratings, boosts merch, and generates headlines every single day. They told her to abandon the most recognizable part of her identity, a number that means more than just digits stitched on the back of a jersey. It's part of her aura, her mythology, her brand, and somehow they didn't think that would blow up in their faces.
Haven't even made it to training camp yet. We have not even made it to the December 12th Women's USA Basketball training camp yet, and they are already
Now here's the part that makes this entire situation almost unbelievable. The number 22, Caitlin Clark's number, the number that's basically tattooed onto the identity of women's basketball right now, wasn't even taken. Nobody at training camp was wearing it. Not a single player. It was just sitting there wide open, untouched, practically waiting for her. Let that sink in for a moment. Team USA didn't deny her 22 because someone else needed it. They didn't do it to avoid stepping on a veteran's toes. They didn't do it to honor a legend. No, they had a clean, simple option to keep everything smooth and drama-free. And instead, they chose to make a problem out of thin air. And it's that decision, that deliberate choice, that turned this from a routine logistics moment into something that feels calculated, like a power move meant to remind Caitlyn who's in control. And here's the thing, the fans aren't dumb. The public isn't naive. The media saw right through it immediately. And nobody, absolutely nobody, is siding with USA Basketball on this. Adding fuel to the fire, the timing couldn't have been worse. All of this blew up just days before Team USA's massive training camp in North Carolina, starting December 12th. This camp was supposed to be a celebration, a hype-fueled showcase featuring rising superstars like Paige Buchers and Juju Watkins. A highlight reel moment for the next era of American dominance on the world stage. But instead of excitement and unity, the entire event got swallowed up by this completely avoidable controversy. And here's the core truth. Caitlyn's number 22 is the most recognizable number in women's sports today. No argument. No debate. From casual fans who just discovered the sport to longtime basketball diehards, everyone knows who owns that number. It represents her deep shooting range, her court vision that leaves defenders spinning, her competitive fire that refuses to die. For millions, 22 isn't fabric. It's symbolism. It's identity. It's legacy. So when Team USA tried to replace her number with 17, a number with zero ties to her history, her childhood, her brand, they weren't just changing digits. They were stripping away meaning. They were erasing something foundational to who she is as an athlete. And when she responded, "Then you can make those rules without me," that wasn't drama. That was boundaries. That was self-respect. This whole situation becomes even more insulting when you zoom out, because this isn't isolated. This comes right after Caitlyn was shockingly left off the Olympic roster, despite being the single biggest star in the sport and an undeniable ratings machine. That snub raised eyebrows worldwide. And when you connect that decision to this forced number change, you start seeing a pattern that looks like gatekeeping, like minimizing her influence, like the old guard of the sport struggling to handle how fast she's taken over. Fans have already connected the dots. First, she gets snubbed from the Olympics. Then she gets told to ditch her number. Both decisions hurt her. Both decisions make no sense. And both decisions make Team USA look deeply uncomfortable with just how big Caitlyn Clark has become. She's bigger than the league, bigger than the program. And big institutions don't always deal well with losing control. That puts Sue Bird in an impossible spot. She's the managing director, the one responsible for roster construction, relationship building, and shaping the program's future. Instead of focusing on basketball strategy and keeping Team USA dominant, she's stuck trying to clean up a mess her own organization caused. Sources close to the situation say she's bouncing between frustration and panic as she searches for a fix that won't explode the situation even more. Here's the cold truth Team USA is learning the hard way. Caitlyn Clark holds all the leverage. Every ounce of it. She doesn't need Team USA. She doesn't need Olympic validation. She's already cemented as a generational figure. She broke records at Iowa that may never fall. She boosted WNBA viewership to heights the league hasn't seen before. She's attracted sponsors, media attention, and brand deals like nobody else. So what does she lose by standing her ground? Nothing. Meanwhile, Team USA risks losing everything. Their biggest star, the millions of fans she brings, the media machine that follows her, the wave of cultural relevance that she single-handedly created. And then came the proof. The official training camp roster dropped, showing Caitlyn Clark listed as number 17. Clear as day. And even worse, the roster confirmed that nobody, literally nobody, was wearing number 22. They could have just handed her the number and dodged every ounce of this drama. But they didn't. They picked this fight. They created this crisis. And now they're stuck living with the fallout. And this mess shines a bright, unforgiving light on something bigger. A systemic issue in women's sports. For years, WNBA athletes have spoken loudly about being undervalued, overlooked, and disrespected by the institutions that claim to support them. So when the most iconic player of her generation gets treated like she's easily replaceable, it reinforces the exact inequality female athletes have been battling forever. It ties directly into the ongoing fight around the collective bargaining agreement and the looming possibility of a league-wide lockout. Players are tired of being told to sit down, be grateful, and accept whatever scraps they're given. That's why this number controversy stings so deeply. It's not the number, it's the message behind it. It's about respect, recognition, autonomy. Caitlyn isn't being dramatic. She's standing up to a system that has historically undervalued women at every turn, and a lot of people are applauding her for it. Now, yes, fans have pointed out that players like Aya Wilson and Cameron Brink also wear 22. True, but this has never required official intervention. Players have always worked it out among themselves. There have been multiple All-Star games where players shared numbers with no drama, no tension, no interference. Team USA didn't need to step in. They chose to step in, and they chose wrong. The entire debacle exposes how badly the organization misjudged Caitlyn's value in 2025. Team USA still acts like they're the power, and the players are supposed to just fall in line. But that dynamic flipped. Caitlyn brings more value to the program than the program brings to her at this point. And Team USA hasn't figured that out. Sue Bird's panic makes sense. She didn't make this call alone. There's probably some outdated policy, some old-school hierarchy thinking, some dusty bureaucratic mindset at play. But she's now the face of this disaster. She's the one who has to answer for decisions she may not even have agreed with. And here's the simplest truth in all of this. Caitlyn Clark has zero reason to compromise. None. She's done everything she needs to do to prove herself. She owes nobody anything. If Team USA wants her back, they're the ones who need to make it right. Not privately, not quietly, but publicly. They need to own the mistake, return her number, and show real respect for what she brings to the sport. At the same time, this entire controversy is fueling a bigger movement: athlete empowerment. We're in a new era where superstars with global brands don't have to accept disrespect. They don't have to bow to institutions just because that's the way it's always been. Caitlyn walking away from Team USA would send shockwaves through the sports world. A message that even the biggest organizations can't treat their biggest stars like they're disposable. What happens next? Nobody knows. Sue Bird might salvage this by reversing the decision and making promises she can actually keep. Or Caitlyn might stand firm, skip the camp, and force Team USA to confront the reality that they need her more than she needs them. Either way, the damage is done. Team USA looks either incompetent or intentionally disrespectful, and neither is a good look. Because here's the comparison everyone is making now. Nobody told Wayne Gretzky to change from 99. Nobody told Jordan to ditch 23. Those numbers became iconic because of what the athletes did with them. Caitlyn Clark is that level of cultural force. 22 isn't optional. It isn't negotiable. It is her. Team USA picked a battle they didn't need to pick. And now they're drowning in the fallout. If you want updates as this story unfolds, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick with Court Queens, because this saga is far from over. And before you go, drop your thoughts below. What should Caitlyn do next?